This time let us take a very technical term that we use, the word self-remembering. Word self-remembering stands for something, for a state that we do need to understand. We've been working together now for 4.5 months, nearly halfway, and I haven't spoken about self-remembering. Why is that? Not because it's not important, but because it is useless to talk about it superficially. It's useless to talk about self-remembering so long as you interpret this as meaning thinking about self-remembering, or having the thought of being present in your mind. First thing to understand is that this diagram that we put on the board on Friday represents the state in which man does not remember himself. There is a quite different diagram that I'll put on the board this next Friday that represents the state of full self-remembering. Every practical teaching includes among the requirements of man's spiritual development that he should be able to remember himself. And every system has its own technical term for this. You can't always recognize that the different terms refer to the same thing. I'm not going to speak about other ones. But what we want to find is what is this state of self-remembering? The first thing, of course, is to realize that self-remembering is a state that connects our inner and outer life. It is not a state of our inner life. When we sit and do an exercise, then it isn't an effort to remember ourselves, then because our problem is to enter into some part of our inner world, and for the time being at least, we disregard the outer world. This is necessary. It is not possible for man to live a normal, balanced life. It is not possible unless he puts aside a certain period of the day. And truly, the minimum is half an hour, when he is occupied exclusively with his inner life. I hope that before you leave here, this will have been so clearly established for you that you will do it for the rest of your lives. And regard it as quite abnormal that you should not devote that time of the day, just as you would regard it as abnormal if you didn't sleep or eat or even breathe. You would regard it as abnormal not to spend a certain period which is devoted wholly to the inner. So that self-remembering is not for that. Self-remembering is for the situation in which we now are. But even more, it's for the situation where there is no external reminding factor, such as here we are all together trying to understand something, to share our experiences, and all this is reminding us. And therefore we are in a state of being self-reminded. But how to be in a state of self-remembering? how not to lose oneself in the outer world when one's attention and one's activity is directed towards the outer world. This is the problem that everyone has to face if they wish to achieve complete and balanced being. It is totally useless to spend part of one's time engaged in working for one's inner world and the rest of one's time working for one's outer world and make no connection between the two. This only leads to various kinds of psychopathism. The self-remembering is the basic requirement of a normal life. It is no more than that, but no less than that. But what is it, and how does one maintain this state of self-remembering? As I said at the beginning, this I've not brought forward as a theme until this stage of our work, because it is not so simple, not at all elementary. There's a mistake made that because the words sound simple, that the reality is simple. Self-remembering is the state in which necessary for us to be if we are to be complete, integrated and normal human beings. On the other hand, we cannot be in this state unless we have something already formed in us that is capable of being in it. One thing I read about a man who claimed to have found a school in the East by having followed up the clues left by Gurdjieff. And he wrote this thing. It was in a book that had been published in America not long ago. And he found various things that he found he was going to use to test the Enneagram, the stop exercise, and something else, and self-remembering. So he finally found this Sufi in Afghanistan and asked him various questions. Then when he mentioned self-remembering, he said, "Oh, self-remembering, that's the first rule of our order." And when I read that, I thought, this is really phony. This is really shows that the whole thing is a complete fake, because one might have just as well say the first rule of our order is that we should be able to fly. In order to fly, one must have wings. Not that I'm asking you to fly but I am saying to you that is now, with the work that you've done up to this point, there is the possibility for you of having the experience of self-remembering and of doing something with it.